Hi there, welcome back to Just Making It. Today, we got a new employee on the farm. Dylan. This is our drone. We call him Dylan. And he's going to do some work for us. I'm going to show you how a drone can help you on the farm. Whether checking crops, counting round bales, or just surveying the land. Okay, we're looking at about a 35-acre cornfield. And what we're going to do, we're going to take the drone, we're going to go up and down it, we're going to look at any, if there's any imperfections in the field. If the corn's low, if there's missing spots. We don't have to walk the whole field, so we're going to use the drone to help us and see if there's any issues out there before we actually go out. So let's go ahead and scan the field. I'm just going to move the drone forward. Let's go down a bit. Okay. And we're just going to go out, see what it looks like. You can see the light spot in the middle of the cornfield. That's just the dirt underneath. Another thing that you can see how your weed control is in areas where it didn't spray very well, or you can actually see, maybe crop damage from animals. So far it's looking pretty good. That light spot that you see underneath the corn there, that's just the dirt underneath. But we could actually go out there after we're done here and take a look at it. Okay, now right here, see it almost looks like there's some corn not there. Let's go down with the drone. Yep, it looks sort of like maybe we did have a little damage, or maybe it just didn't come up right there. But that's a spot right there that we could check out. So let's keep moving along here. Heading towards the back along the woods. It's looking pretty good. Sometimes you might see a deer or something out there. The drone actually spooks like deer, or I don't like to take it around cows because it sounds like a swarm of bees. And I think the cows, they don't like that. Right there, we might have a little bit of a bad spot. We could check that out. So far it's looking pretty good. The back here looks nice and green. Okay, now we're going to turn the drone around. Okay, now we're ready to make our second pass here. So let's move along the corn here. So far it's looking good. We had that one little low spot when we made that first pass. We'll check that out. We'll go walk it later. But you could see the different shades of green in the corn. And that might tell me too, like for next year, where I need to improve the soil. Maybe put some more manure down in that certain area. Looks pretty good here. We're going to go all the way to the road here. But look at the distance that I'm saving and the time that I'm saving by just using the drone to scan the corn instead of walking it. Right now it's over 90 degrees outside. And, you know, to walk the field, you'd be sweating. So why not just have the drone do it? Okay, so let's go straight back. The front looks really nice. If anywhere, it would be the hillside here where it might fluctuate a little bit. You can see right, let's go down a little bit. Right there. We'll check that out. There's a spot right there. See it? Yep, right there. It looks like there's some corn. It either skipped or didn't germinate, or we had some animal damage. We'll check that out, but that's a bare spot. Let me go up. We'll go back. And you got different speed modes on this drone. You can go in sport mode, normal, or you can slow it down. And all the past videos that I've done, you know, following equipment with this drone, I use the slow speed because the other two speeds are too fast to keep up with the equipment. Okay, you could see right there, see those bare spots? That could be crop damage. We don't know until we walk it. It looks pretty good back there. Okay, let's gimbal up. Let's go back to the road. We'll go a little bit higher here. This field actually goes downhill about right here. Okay, this all looks pretty good. We'll turn around. We'll make one more pass along the woods here to the right. And I'm not seeing any bare spots. Okay, this all looks good here. Let's go ahead and make our turn. Okay, this will be the last pass. But see how fast that was? I covered 35 acres in what? Maybe 5-10 minutes? Okay, right there we got a bare spot. See that right there? So we'll check that area out. See what's going on. It looks like the weed control's pretty good. I don't see any weeds actually coming up in those areas. A lot of times where it opens up, you start getting a lot of weeds. Of course, it's early yet. It's only the end of July. We've got a couple more months to go. This corn is 101-day corn. Okay, we're coming up over the hill. Still looks good. All right, you can see back here by the woods, this is where a lot of deer come out. So this could be deer damage right here. Got it. All right, now that we sent the drone up, we found the target areas we want to look at. So this is going to save a lot of time. We're just going to go right to those areas. We don't know if it's deer damage, whether, you know, the corn didn't come up good in that area.
Or it might even be crows.
It could be crows. When the corn was coming up, they like to go down the line, pick the corn out. So let's go back here and check it out. Well, we're walking along the cornfield now, and you can see what I see. I can't see nothing over this corn. And having that drone up above, looking down, is so much nicer. Okay, folks, out here walking some rows, and there's a sign here that I don't like to see. You could see how the corn, I couldn't see this from the drone very well, but look at how the corn is starting to roll up. See it? The leaves are closing. That's a sign of drought. It's starting to dry up. You can see the leaves underneath starting to turn brown, and this will roll up from the bottom. It's going to start rolling on the top if we don't get rain here very soon. So that's what we need. You can see how dry the ground is. All right, you can see how good the corn's doing there, right? So I come up on this spot that we found on the drone. Check this out. This does not look that good. It's very short right here. And it's dry. And you can see the corn, it's just starting to roll up. Real dry. Yeah, there's about a half acre here. So, see how you can pinpoint things from the sky. And this is just, I believe that this is just deficiency in the soil. This isn't animal damage or anything like that.
Nothing's chewed.
Nothing's chewed. So you could see it goes over there. It's pretty low. So, you know, like next year in the fall, when I go to spread manure, I can hit this a little bit harder and maybe make things grow a little bit better in this area. Weed control looks pretty good. But yeah, we need rain bad. Look at that. So as I walk here, and I'm going towards this wood line, watch how nice the corn gets. Right in here. See how much nicer it is? Green, taller. So it's that one area that I have to work on. Okay, let's go way over there in the corner where we saw that deer. And we're going to go check that out. And we're going to determine if that was damaged by wildlife or is it a bad area. Look at this, folks. Are we planting corn or are we planting onions here? Right along the wood line. Getting really dry. I don't know if you can see them, but we are walking back here by the corn, and there's a buck. He sees me now. I don't know how many points he is, but he was laying down right there. There, yeah, he's just checking us out. Okay, I'm back here in the corner, and I showed you, some bare spot. And we walked back here, and guess what it is? This is deer damage. They were eating the tops when it was young, and they're still eating the tops. So you can see the corn was there, but they just ate it. Everything's chewed. So there, the drone picked that up. Where we had a bare spot, come back here, pinpoint it, determine what's going on. Yep, it's all chewed up. That's caused from wildlife right there. And it's right next to the woods. We're right in a corner. See the trees? And this is where the deer are going in and out. I couldn't tell from the drone though that the corn was shriveling up on the bottom. See the leaves? It's drying up. And another thing I couldn't pick up all that well is look, it's tasseling already. My corn's only about 5 foot tall, 4 or 5 foot tall, and it's tasseling. So that's a bad sign. This is a 101-day corn. It shouldn't be doing this right now. But it has so many defense mechanisms when it starts to dry up like this that I think it's saying to itself an early start as far as getting a cob on. So hopefully we get some rain. It has a lot more growth, but with the tassels coming on, we all know that that means that the cobs are going to start. So we'll see what happens. Now all this corn was no-tilled, and if you remember in my corn video, I planted half in grass, hay, you can see it down there, it's brown, and half in an older cornfield. And being that I no-tilled it, went right over the top, and we were wondering what side would do best. Would it be the hay side or the old corn side? So walking it, we determined that I would say it's about a tie. It's about even right now. But the weather has not been cooperating, so who knows what it actually would be like. But with all this heat and dryness, I think the whole thing got stunned. Well, folks, another thing I noticed here, just walking, I'm walking through a hay field. Look at how dried up this hay is getting. It's starting to turn brown. I was hoping for a nice second crop of cut of hay, but it doesn't look like we might get it. We need rain quickly. It's just stunned. So the hay doesn't look too good as far as the second crop goes. The first crop was excellent. It was thick, got ripe really quick. We got double the amount of bales, but it'd be nice to get some of this second crop. Okay, we got the bales off of that field there, but we need to get the bales off of the rest of the field. This little one actually right here. So what I could do, I can come back here. Let me go backwards here. And we're going to count the round bales. So it'll tell me how many trips that I need to make with my wagon, and what size bale hauler I need to take back here because of the count. So right there, see, I can go ahead and count these bales. I just walked by this creek and it usually has water in it. Look at it now. It's all dried up. Okay, now we're going to fly over the rye field. We're going to get ready to harvest it pretty soon. But let's take a look at seeing how the weeds are coming up and see if there's any bare spots. You could see a lot of deer trails in it. It's all deer trails back and forth. It's looking pretty good. This field's about 15 acres. And it was planted last fall. And it is ready to harvest right now, which is the end of July. So let's head towards the back of it here. This side looks really good. You can see a little green under there. Might be a few weeds. The longer we wait, the worse it's going to get. So I'm going to make a turn here. And look at that. See that green spot? That is weeds. And that's where it's been wet. And when I take the combine over it, I might have to lift the head there because combines do not like green. So that looks to be the worst spot in the field right there. So let's go down to the ground and take a look at that area. We came up upon the rye field here, and you could see it looks good, on the ground. But having that drone footage gave us a better idea of the amount of weeds and maybe bare spots that are in it. And we did notice a lot of deer trails. So I can guarantee you right now there's probably a deer laying in there somewhere. We've seen a lot of fawns go in and out of here. You can see where they got it trampled down. So we got to get to this rye quickly before we end up losing a bunch. We're in that bad spot from the rye. Let's walk up here and see what it looks like. Yep, see? This is where it's usually wet. So it's pretty much all weeds in here. There's a little vein that goes right down the middle over there. So yep, this is what it looks like on the ground. Everywhere else around it looks fine. So this might be a spot where I have to pick my combine head up, because combines do not like green. Okay, now I'm going to take you back to where I planted that food plot. I had a video on doing that. Let's see how it's doing. It's about a half a mile from where I'm sitting right now. So let's start here. And let's see how we're doing. Looks a lot greener than what it did. Oh yeah. Look at that. You can see the rows. That's the field that I put fescue, orchard grass, clover, and rye in. Looks pretty good. You could see there, right there, under the trees, the tree line, where there's a lot of shade, where it could be a little bare. But through time, maybe that will fill in. But I do know the deer are hitting that pretty good back there. So that's what it looks like from the air. We're going to go back there and look at it on foot. Now I could go down a lot closer with this drone, but it's going to take me within the trees and I might not get good reception. So I'm going to stay above the trees here just to get a bird's eye view of what it looks like. And like I said, we'll go back there and walk it. But there you go. I'm a half mile from this food plot. I'm sitting about a half mile controlling this drone. And that's a half mile walk. And look at the time I saved just by taking the drone and checking things out. This is that food plot I put in. I had a video on it. And then it's going to be pasture for the cows later on. But you could see it's really doing good. Look how thick that is. I've got orchard grass, fescue, red clover, and rye. And it's coming in pretty nice. And look good from the drone too. There wasn't really any bare spots except along these oak trees because there's a lot of shade. But yeah, the cows they'll probably go in here next spring, next summer. We're going to give this a year. Oh, I also put soybeans in this. See the beans? So the deer, they're probably back here like crazy. And then next year when this starts growing, we're going to let the cows in it. What a difference. If you go back to that video and see what it looked like before, this is all brown and mossy. And look at the difference. And especially if we get some rain. I'm surprised it's doing this good. First seeding, first year with this kind of rain. And if you could remember in that video too, I fertilized these oak trees along here. So the deer, they're going to go to those trees first to eat the acorns. Another thing we could check out with this drone is see how the pasture looks. The cows have been grazing. We've been trying to do some rotational grazing, but we just have not been getting any rain lately. So you could see off in the distance there, up top, you see people's yards, how green they are up there. See our pasture, how it's getting. So that's telling me, you know, hey, I might have to start feeding these cows just by the way it looks. I mean, we could go and walk it, but I can tell you this, it's dry. And those cows have been working this pasture. So, yep, it's starting to dry up. We've got some hay that we can feed them if we have to. But you could see the difference there. Look how green to brown that is. Okay, this field is about 22, 24 acres. And I had a video on it when I planted it. It's a hay field. And I got rye in there. I got fescue, orchard grass, and clover. And this is what it looks like on the ground. Of course, I'm in the shade. You can see the clover coming up. The rye's there. You see the orchard grass is really young yet. That takes its time. But yeah, it looks pretty good. So now we're going to send the drone up. And instead of walking this whole field, in about 5 minutes I should be able to cover it and see how it looks. Okay folks, let's scan this field. It's only going to take about 5 minutes. Let's check it out, see if we see any imperfections. Remember, it's been awful dry. I'm just looking for really big bare spots. But you can see all the ground that I'm covering with this drone. And so far it's looking pretty good. You can see along the wood line there up above me, ahead of me, it looks like somebody's been driving a four-wheeler or something. Sort of looks like a road. So as long as they stay on the edge there. Okay, so we're going to come around. It's looking pretty good. I got power lines ahead of me, so I got to stay above them. So far, so good. It's going to take time for this field. I'm hoping to get something off of this field this year, but it all depends if we get the rain. So I'm going to circle around here. Now you could see right here, see this right here? That's a little patchy right there. So let's go down and take a closer look. I got to be careful because there's power lines there. Okay, and it's telling me how many feet I am above the ground. So right there I'm 3 feet. So you can see what it looks like here. Go a little bit slower. Actually, it doesn't look too bad. It just looks like the ground underneath is lighter. It looks like there's grass there. So let's gimbal up. There you go. Not too bad. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some weeds in this field. And there's going to be weeds, but once you keep mowing it, you can also spray it if you wanted to, but I just keep mowing it, and it helps it. Okay, let's circle around. We got a pond to our left. Let's check out this side here. We're going to gimbal down. All right. Nice and green on this side. I'm 83 feet. Okay, there's a telephone pole right there. Okay, it's looking pretty good. Look at that. No real bare spots on this side. So let's check this corner. That's one last spot we got to check. I see a little bit of bareness right here. It might be a spot of bad ground. See it right there? And right there. Sort of looks like tractor marks. Not too shabby. So that corner looks pretty good. All right. There you go. Less than 5 minutes we went over that whole field using the drone. Okay, folks. This is the last field that I planted, and it's corn. I didn't plant the whole field. I had some seed left over, and I figured I'd plant it, about 5 to 6 acres of it. So let's scan this field. I didn't think this field would have a chance because the deer chewed it down. And you can see it's not very high for this time of year, but I think it's going to make it. So let's go down here and just see. See, it looks pretty good. There's some corn missing here and there, but I think that's because of the wildlife damage. So let's scan it, see if we see any real big bare spots in it. And this could be from crows here. See how there's some missing? So it doesn't look real bad. Now the back of that field I'm going to put rye. That's why I left that bare. There's a little spot right there. Overall though, it looks pretty good. A little thin in the back. All right, there you have it. I just went over like a 6 acre, 5 acre field. This is this cornfield on the ground. This is what it looks like. So it's almost up to my waist. It's a little bit behind, but I was worried about this field because the deer had it all chewed down, and I didn't think it'd make it at all. All the leaves were chewed off of it, but it's making a comeback. So at the time, I decided not to put any nitrogen on it. Usually I top dress it with nitrogen, and I didn't put any of that on it, but I think it's doing pretty good. We just need that rain. I think it'll make it. A drone could be useful on the farm. As you can see, we checked the crops, we checked the fields, see how they were. Didn't have to do all that walking. And Dylan here did a good job. Tell everybody goodbye, Dylan. Okay, we'll see you next time on Just Making It. Thanks for watching.